What is this, man? It's a flip and right.
We use a different design proxies, but it's every bit as fun.
It may be a flippin' right, but it's the bomb.
Oh, tight, yeah!
Flip and right, roll and right, whatever, man. Just keep bringing me that. Hello everyone, welcome, I'm Robert, and today I want to discuss Hadrian's Wall. And as you could probably tell by that intro, I am pretty damn impressed by this game. So this is a flip and right game by designer Bobby Hill and published by Renegade Studios. It is from the Garb Hill Design Studio. And this is my first game from them. They have some pretty renowned titles among solo board gamers like this and Legacy of You, for example. They really have some presence in this hobby, but yeah, this is my first time trying one of their titles. And this sat on my shelf of shame for quite a few years. I made a video recently showing my shelf of shame, and I had a couple of commenters telling me, dude, what are you doing? You should try that game, like ASAP. And I'm like, all right, fine. I kind of forgot that it was there. I didn't even think of trying it anytime soon, but I'm glad I did because damn, man, this game is just something else. So the gist of the game is that you use these two sheets with pencil and eraser, and you're gonna be marking these boxes, and there's all of these different areas that are all interconnected. So it's like this a network of you use actions that affect one sheet, and then it reverberates into the other sheet. So there's going to be this frequent event of you complete a box and then it'll trigger another box in another part of the sheet, and so on. And the resources that you use are these meeples, okay? And by the way, I got this little tray 3D printed. It just makes setup such a breeze. Highly recommended. I'll leave a link in the description. So you have these resource, like these stone tokens, and then these four colored, different colored meeples that you use to do different actions. So for example, for this track right here for mining and foresting, you need to use purple meeples, and this will allow you to create or increase your resource generation. So as you progress, you're basically building a bit of an engine. You're going to be defending against attacks. So you need to build up your defenses on this side of the sheet. So the attacks can come from three different directions: center, left, and right. So it's not just about defending. You also have to build up your resource generation, but also you have to do this more civilian side of the board, where you're creating entertainment and like bread and circuses and whatnot. And also there's patricians, which help with diplomacy. So you have all of these different tracks that serve different purposes, all right? So yeah, both sheets are interconnected, and it's gonna take some time initially parsing all of this information and figuring out how it all connects. There is a deck, a fate deck, that determines a few things. So you flip one of these every turn and you get some extra resources for you to work with. So there's variable resources each round. You'll also, from your 12 card deck, you'll draw two, and you have to pick one, and one of these cards you'll tuck under this board, all right? And this will dictate a scoring condition at the end of the game for you to gain extra victory points, all right? And the other one will grant you extra resources, but it will also grant you this polyomino pattern and this trade goods number. The game takes place over the course of 6 rounds in total. So you start here. So at the end of each year, you will draw a certain amount of fate cards, and that'll determine from which direction the enemy attacks. And each year, the amount of cards that you draw increases. So you have to prepare for those attacks. And if the attacks go through, bad things happen that might affect your score at the end. So to give you an example here, in year 3, I would draw 4 of these. All right. So in this example right here, I would end up with 3 attacks on the left lane and then 1 attack on the right. So this is a multiplayer game with a solo mode, but to me this is pretty much a solitaire multiplayer game for the most part. For the solo mode, you just have to run this secondary deck that you flip so that you can have access to a couple of additional things that you would have access to in multiplayer. So the trade goods number are used here on the top right in this market, and then the polyomino shapes are used in this bottom right track for scouting, which is pretty key. I've had to use this a lot and it saved me a lot of times when I need extra resources. So this is a pretty important track. Now, what will happen with the solo bot with its 2 face-up cards is that if you decide to use one of its symbols, numbers or polyomino patterns, the resource that you use will go to the fate deck and you'll end up drawing more attack cards. So that is the downside of using your bot opponent simulator symbols and cards rather than using your own. So there is a bit of a, it's something that you have to weigh against if you decide to use one of the patterns from the neighboring cards versus just sticking to using your own pattern. You can also draw from the Fate deck for a couple of effects, but that's a gamble, so you don't know what you're gonna get. And once you reach and finish year 6 and process the last attack, you'll add up all the score from the scoring conditions that you tucked under your board, as well as adding up all of your renown, piety, valor, and discipline. So you'll add up all of those numbers, and also if you have a lot of disdain, that's going to subtract from your score. So you add all of that up, and here are the thresholds that the rulebook suggests for how well you did when you score at the end. So that's the gist of how the game is played, but why do I like it so much? Well, for one, it's just incredible how much it accomplishes with the simplicity of the components. It's just a couple of sheets, you get your marker, a board, couple decks, and then some tokens. And just look at how modest and, I would even say pretty compact the footprint for this is. And the turn to turn that you get from this, pretty minimalist components and also, relatively painless learning experience, folks, it is just beautiful. The variable resources that you get every turn, really keeps things fresh because you're never gonna know what you're gonna have at your disposal, and you have to make the best out of the resources that you get. And you're trying to do everything. There's just so many areas where you can invest your resources, and you are going to sit there and think hard where you can put your resources. Sometimes I like winging it and just, okay, I'll just use these purple tokens here and whatnot, right? But more often than not, you're gonna sit there and really try to think a few steps ahead of how things are gonna change, because there's gonna be a lot of chain reactions of you, doing actions with your resources that will then give you more resources. So there's this resource conversion that just feels so good, man. It is crazy. And look, like I'm not a huge fan of flip and writes and roll and write. So that's like the type of game that I play the least in my collection. I typically play just card-driven games and heavier games, cool stuff with miniatures. But this is just such amazing design. Like the form factor, it doesn't matter. Like it really just is. I don't know if there's a better roll and write that I've played. This is like the pinnacle. Like I just don't know if it gets any better, folks. I really don't have to elaborate too much. Like this just feels amazing to play, folks. It's just that simple. And I didn't even mention how quick it sets up. You simply rip a couple of sheets, or if you laminate them, you're good to go. Shuffle a couple decks, and that's it. It really is that simple, and you're gonna have some crunchy, delicious gameplay for at least hour to hour and a half once you are familiar with the how everything connects here and how and with the rules. Now, another thing I have to mention with this is just how cool the illustrations are. So the card art, the board, and even this. Folks, this can seem intimidating at first. It is a lot of information, and the rulebook's not half bad. It's just going to be a bit time consuming getting through it, but once you start playing and just doing actions, everything clicks, okay? And it really made me appreciate how well designed this is from a graphic design perspective, because this is a lot of information, and I have played other roll and write games that I've been more on the amateurish side that you know, it doesn't quite present the information this elegantly, and it is a lot of information, but this is just so masterfully arranged and designed. It is just a pleasure to look at. So when you play those initial few games, it is gonna be amazing discovering all the tracks and how everything works, and you're gonna see your score going up. I played this a total of 10 times, 5 of those games being just the vanilla version in easy and normal, and the last 5 games being campaign games. Once you become familiar and you have that initial period of amazement of how great everything is, and you play and enjoy it, and these games last you quite a lot, so you'll get like a solid 8 or so hours in total if you play this like 6 or so times of, you know, familiarizing yourself with it and just discovering it and enjoying it and seeing your score improve. All of that's amazing. Now, when this really shines is when you start playing the solo campaigns, okay, which are not included in the box, sadly, but it's just a couple sheets download that you can get from Board Game Geek or from the publisher's website. And here's where things just start getting juicy, okay, because this gets you out of your comfort zone. This will set some parameters where you play all of these scenarios in order, and they'll give you some restrictions, okay? So you have to score a certain amount, and it gives you an optional challenge that if you complete successfully, it'll give you a setup reward for the next scenario. And this is where the game truly shines. I like the arc that I experienced with this game. You go through that amazing period of excitement and discovery with just admiring the design and just having fun with the combos. But then it's like, all right, so how can I shake up the formula? And all you have to do is download this, and it is just beautiful. I just love the simplicity of what this solo campaign does. Just add a couple restrictions, and it really makes you think how to best utilize different tracks of the sheets to accomplish that. And so far, I was able to succeed in the first 3 missions on my first try. Now, I got to the 4th mission, and for the first time I failed, so now I have to revisit that and see how I can get around this restriction and accomplish this mission. But I'm not gonna burn through the campaign since I started playing this a week ago. I've played it a ton. It's pretty much one of the only things I've played the past week. I don't want to burn through it. I just want to savor it and just every now and then pull out the game and go slowly through this campaign, because it is just such a delight, folks. So yeah, folks, that is Hadrian's Wall. I really pretty much don't have anything negative to say about this game. It is just incredible. I'm shocked that I didn't play it until now. It's not the newest and shiniest thing, so I guess that's why I didn't hear about it as much recently, and I kind of forgot that it was on my shelf of shame. And I already don't care too much for roll and writes and flip and writes, bourbon writes. I don't tend to play those games a lot, but this really changes my perspective in what is possible with a flip and write. And as some of you might have noticed, since this game came out, there's been a gold rush of people creating all of these roll and writes on Kickstarter that you just buy digitally and print it at home, trying to replicate this, and some more successful than others. I've not tried, I really haven't tried any of them myself, honestly, because again, I don't care too much for this format of game, but that was before I tried this game, and I can see why people love it so much and try to capture it with different themes, okay? But yeah, folks, this is like one of the best solo board games of all time. It's just amazing. It really doesn't feel like it compromises in any way for the solo experience. It's just so simple. You just run a deck and flip 2 cards, and that pretty much is the only thing that changes operationally. So while it might be multiplayer, there really isn't much of a compromise at all. Every decision just feels so meaningful. What you do early on will have an impact later. Every time that I've played this, which again, my games lasted hour to hour and a half, I was never bored for a second, and every turn was engaging and interesting and exciting. I just love how things chain together and how you make an action and you get more, and you do an action and you keep getting resources, so you keep trying to do as much as you can every turn. It is just incredible how just with a couple sheets and some meeples, this game just hits you with those dopamine hits. And I know that I recently awarded a game with this, but how can I not give this a dopamine seal of approval, folks? Like, it really just hits you with dopamine constantly. It is crazy, and it is just a frigging flip and ride. I still can't get over the fact that it's just a flip and ride and how much it accomplishes with that. And there's a pretty good chance that this game is gonna be on my top 20 easily. It is just a frigging accomplishment, man. Congratulations to the designer and the publisher. I know this is like 4 years late, but I don't care. And I'm definitely looking forward to trying the spiritual successor to this, the Anarchy, from the same designer. Alright folks, so that's Hadrian's Wall. I recommend it 100%. If you have not tried it, please do yourself a favor and do so. I can't believe it took me this long to finally try it. It is a frigging triumph of a game. And I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, go ahead and put them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.